everybody, my name is Joey. Welcome to my channel. I got my SoftFlex Design Challenge Kit for the month of July, and it's called Enchanted Forest. This is one of my favorite kits that I get every month. I love it for one thing because it's not a subscription, so you don't have to commit to something long term, but it's always good. It always includes a Jesse James bead mix because they partner with Jesse James Beads, and they are great at putting really special things in their box. And this month it's really good, you guys. I don't even know where to start. So this is the Enchanted Forest bead mix. We'll look at what's in there, but one of the things I love is that my very favorite bead stringing wire on the planet, there's just really nothing on the market like the medium 49 strand bead stringing wire. It works so great with your magical crimping tool, and it's very flexible, and there's so many beautiful colors. And look at the color in the box this month, the dark blue lapis. I love it. Love it. That just makes me so happy. And then this is the Jesse James bead mix that goes with it. It's always packed with spacer beads and beautiful crystals. I am in love with this table cut little bead. It's such a cool shape. It's like got a little window, and it's frosted on the outside. I just love it. And look at this little, I don't even know, the facets on this are so cool. It's like a little bit, it even looks like maybe something found in the forest, or maybe even I don't know, like a funny little botanical bud or something. It's really cool. And then look at this, whoops, come back, look at this faceted oval. It's taking my breath away. I'm looking at, like, I see the purple flashes here, but then it goes into the green, and there's some beautiful frosted beads in here, and some little bicones, and some beautiful glass leaves in a really bright, beautiful green. Oh, and look at the little flowers. Faceted little wild flowers. They're faceted on both sides, and they have that beautiful AB, like all the colors just dance in the light. It's so pretty. Gorgeous, like pewter colored spacers, and one of my favorite things in the world are disc spacers, and I just love these ones with a nice thin profile. And what else? Did I miss anything? Okay, oh my goodness, I am going to be using a couple of things. If you haven't noticed out here, I've already started playing because I'm supposed to be setting up for my video and getting ready to work, but I was already designing in my head. We also got in the box silver plated ear wires and a lobster claw clasp, and there is this beautiful collection of ceramic beads with flowers on both sides, and they have nice large holes. So if you like to work with leather or Brazilian waxed cord, you can totally do that with those beads. And then there is this gorgeous little silver dragonfly. He's so cute. He almost looks like a cartoon drawing. He's so beautiful. And look at the pewter button. OMG. It's so gorgeous. It's a little shank button, and there's so much detail. I'm going to get as close to the camera as I can, but it's a little fairy. Oh my gosh, I love her. I'm going to be tempted to hoard this. I really am. And then there is a collection of teeny tiny ceramic butterflies. Aren't they sweet? All different colors and in the rich colors of the Enchanted Forest. I love them, and they have a pretty good size hole too, so like several strands of waxed cord would go through there. I don't know what I'm going to do with mine. I have most of the way designed a bracelet in my head, and I don't know if those are going to go in or not, but you guys, there is a check glass mix here that is just amazing. These are 14 millimeter check glass two-tone purple satin fire polish beads. Can you see the color variation in that? Oh my goodness, you have to like look deeply inside the glass, and look at this one. It's almost clear on one side and then totally opaque on the other side. I am 100% in love with these beads. I wish you could feel them. They're so cool. And there is these beautiful check glass squares, and I was already playing with making a component. I think this is going to go in my bracelet, so I'll show you how I did this with wire to add a little squiggly. I feel like an Enchanted Forest has like tendrils and things twisting and turning, and so I thought, why not do that to one of the beads? It's so pretty. And then I love these little drops. I have never seen this shape. This is so cool. Again, it looks like something that might be growing wild in an enchanted forest. The color is gorgeous. The shape is amazing. So I'm going to make a cluster with mine. So I just took my SoftFlex wire in 22 gauge and made some little jump rings. And I just wanted to see if it would work, and it goes through there just perfectly. So I'm going to put a jump ring on every single one of mine for my bracelet. And then look at this little window bead. It's so cool. I love this. It's like table cut on both sides and frosted on the edges. And then these little swirly rondelles are gorgeous. I love this mix. This is so pretty. But I'm going to use my SoftFlex wire, and there were 12 of these in my mix, and I'm going to make 2 components. Some of you who have been on my channel before might guess what my component is going to look like, but I'm pulling those out for that. And then the SoftFlex company always ties their bundle with something so cool. One month it was colorful raffia, and I made tassels out of it. This is a beautiful purple and white cotton cord, and last month there was a different color in this cord, and I did a gorgeous bookmarker that I loved. This is so perfect for laying in between the pages of a paperback book. So just absolutely wonderful. Did I miss anything? I'm so excited to start my bracelet. So I'm going to just clean up a little bit, and I'm going to kind of pull out the things that are likely to go in my bracelet, and I will be using some of this, and it'll just be a second for you. Okay, I got myself organized, and I've made one of my ring components that I love to do. If you've been on my channel before, I'm sure you have seen me do this, and I just love, I normally do this with scraps, but I just love this color of the 49 strand bead stringing wire, and there were exactly 12 of these beautiful rondelle beads. So I'm using 6 per ring, and if you notice, there's a 11O gold seed bead in between each one, but I'm omitting the last seed bead because when I make this a little circle and put this through my number 2 crimp tube, and we did get silver in the box, but I switched my piece to gold. These are the gold filled SoftFlex crimp tubes, the number 2 crimp tubes. I just saw these colors more with gold than I did with silver. So it looks like that. You have a wire coming each direction, and you just pull. And here's where you need your magical crimping plier to make this little ring bead. So I have it really tight, but the magical crimping plier needs a little space to get in there. So it is going to push the beads out a little bit. And I just want to fit it right in the center. I just felt it go in the center, and I'm going to turn this so that I can pull it as tight as I can before I close my tool. And then I've pinched the 4 corners of the tube, and now I'm going to get in there again in the opposite direction and squarely in the middle. On this part with the magical crimping plier, if you're not right in the middle when you close down, you'll mangle your crimp tube. But the best result comes from the SoftFlex company crimp tubes. The walls are just so thick on these. They're wonderful. So I'm just going to make, that's overkill, but my crimp tube is now a little tiny bead, and look how cool that is. It's almost indistinguishable from the 11O seed beads. So this is like an infinity ring. You just don't know how it's held together. I think a lot of people might assume that it must be needle and thread with a knot hidden inside, when in fact, look at that. It's so cool. And they make such good connectors. And once the jump rings are on, you know, you will not really be able to tell where that crimped bead is. I love doing this. It's a technique that I use often in my designs. So I think that's going to go, where is that going to go? Maybe down here. And so I just played with the beads. Come on, focus camera. I just played with the beads. I did take some little gold spacers, 1 or 2 out of my stash. It's a mix, a Tibetan spacer mix that I always link in my favorite findings. But I'm going to do simple loops on all these components using my 1-step looper, and I'm using the 2 1/4 millimeter. I do intend to attach all the links or components of my bracelet with jump rings, but I wanted this larger loop because I like to do 2 jump rings where possible. And we're going to make some jump rings because I want to create an extender chain with my own jump rings too. So I am a fuss budget with my jewelry, so I want to perfectly close and work harden every loop, and that's just my way. I do like my one-step looper. It saves my hand when I'm making a beaded chain, but really like the consistency of the loops, but I still work harden and, you know, tidy everything up. So that's one little component, and I'm going to get my simple loop in on this end. Even a short piece of wire can work with this tool as long as it fits past the back jaw of the plier of the tool. It makes a fresh cut for you there, and I can watch here and make sure I'm not stressing my beads. So just close the tool. There's my tiny little cut, and then as I'm closing here, just going to pull my component down as I close, so I did not harm my bead at all, and that loop is now centered on the component. You can keep it in the tool, and if it becomes misaligned, mine's pretty perfect, but you can do it that way. And when I take it out, I have a perfect little component. And it's my loops a lot of times, depending on the shape of the bead, are closed perfectly, but I still like to put my pliers on everything. So there's that little component, and I'm going to do the same thing with this and with this bead. Same exact thing. And I just use small pieces of wire and get these components made. Okay, and now for this little dangling section. So what I've done is used my one-step looper to put a loop in this end, and then one of those little tiny daisy spacers from my Tibetan spacer mix, and I just threaded every single one of these on, and I had put a jump ring through the top. So I used my SoftFlex 22 gauge wire to make these jump rings, and I'll show you what it takes to get it on there. It's super easy, but I'll show you. I left two that I didn't do just to show you what I did here, because you know, it's a really delicate little glass bead. So let me just show you. You just take your jump ring, and I went down to 22 gauge wire just so that I don't stress the bead, and just put it in the hole, and you're going to come around. You can, I don't know if you can see, the wire is right there inside the hole. You know, it doesn't, the jump ring has a curvature, so that's as far as it will go. So you just have to get a hold of your jump ring and close it over the little opening just like that. And then once it's closed, then it does move. And so just do the last one. And I'll show you, I don't know if I'm going to need another one of these wire embellished square beads, but I'm going to make one anyway just to show you what I did, because I was actually, as I told you guys, see how the wire is just peeking through. Apparently I can't talk and close a jump ring at the same time. But I was setting up for the video really just to share the contents, and I just had to immediately start playing with the beads. They're just so good. So what I'm going to do for this little component is literally feed every single one of these on. It's going to be a little cluster section. And just to make sure that it kind of does look like a bead and that my jump rings don't escape the end of my wire, I put a spacer bead on either end. And I'm going to like bunch this up, and this is not going to look like much like this, but when it's on my body after the loop is in there, you know, my wrist will hold it up, and it'll be this really textural, interesting section to my bracelet. So I'm going to find my loop. I'm doing my loops all, the one-step looper makes them going up, so I'm doing all my loops in the same direction, and I'm just going to put this through, and I'm just going to push up to the front jaw. I'm going to gently close it. I want this, you know, I want them to be kind of tight, but not like smashed together. So that's about as far as I can go. And if your wire is against this back jaw, you do get a better loop with any bead, but your bead shapes do affect this tool. But you guys, if you're, you know, comfortable making simple loops with your pliers and you don't have any problems with your hands, use your pliers to do this. I just want to make sure that I'm not chomping down. And I'm just going to pull this down like I did before and center that loop. So it's like a beaded bead. And I'm not like popping the tool closed here. As I slowly closed, I, can see what I'm doing. And when I take my tool away, let's see if my loop is closed. It's really good. That one is really good. Like I got misaligned a little bit, just a tiny bit. But the different shape beads can do that. So this little section, isn't that beautiful? I just love it. So that's going to get connected. And then I did a little spiral head pin and made a charm out of one of my butterflies. And I think I'm going to be using the other ones too, but I'm just not totally sure until I connect everything. So this is what I am looking like so far for my bracelet. And I do need to make some jump rings, but I'm going to go ahead. I have a piece of my wire here. I'm going to go ahead and do another one of these, and then I'll choose which one I like the best for my bracelet design. So I'm going to come about 2/3 of the way down, and I didn't even measure this piece of wire. It's about 10 inches, I think. And I'm coming so that I have, my bead is going to be about here, and I want to have wire on either end to do a simple loop and then left over for an embellishment. So I'm coming like maybe 2/3 of the way down. I'm going to put a 90-degree bend in my wire, and I want to try to do about a 2 1/4 millimeter wrapped loop so that it matches, so that it matches all the other loops that I did. So bring this wire over the top barrel of my plier, and I'm going to rotate. So the bottom barrel is now on the top, and then I'm going to bring this wire all the way around and do whatever I need to do to get that loop centered and perfect. Get this straight again. And it looks like that. And then I'm going to just do maybe 3 wraps. Just get a hold of my loop and just do 3 wraps. And I'm stopping so that this wire is off to the left, and I'm gonna like really tighten up my wraps. Like I said, I tend to fuss with my jewelry. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and so before I move on to the next step, I really take my time to warm and straighten my wire and make sure that everything is as I want it. So now I'm going to take one of my square check glass beads and feed that on. And it's going to twist around until I get the other one in, but essentially I want it to look like that. I want this wire to be hanging off because this is going to get spiraled back, but I'm going to come to this side and do the exact same thing but off onto this side, if that makes sense. So I'm going to get a hold. Now there's a bead on there, so I'm going to get a hold the same way that I did and bend my wire 90 degrees, same way that I did the first side. And in the same spot on my round nose pliers, come in and do another wire wrapped loop. This time, there's a little bit in my way, but just go slow. I have learned over the years that if I move slowly with my wire and keep it warm, that it really does, it responds better to what I want it to do. And now I'm going to wrap down to my tile bead, my square bead. Just wrap down so that it's pretty snug. Let me move a couple things out of my way here. And I'm going to stop right about there. Let me move my pliers out of the way and I'll show you. So my wrap finished exactly opposite. And I'm going to cut this like, maybe right about there. And I'm going to cut this side. You could measure, but I make my jewelry with my heart. I'm just going to eyeball it right about there. And now I'm going to create 2 spirals and just lay them right on the bead. So I'm going to start at the very tip of my plier and put a really tiny little loop in there. And I'm going to turn it this way. And just like in small increments, coiled right down to the wraps that I did beneath the loop. And I'm just going to take this and bend it down. And here's where I like to use my nylon jaw plier if I need to flatten a spiral onto a bead. And make any adjustments that I want. Like I really wanted it centered. And I'll come back when I've done the other end and really make sure that my loops are, you know, everything lined up. But I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side. Just start with a really tiny little loop. Turn it this way. In small increments, just spiral away. So there's that little component. This would make beautiful earrings just to put your ear wire and then dangle like, oh, even one of these from the bottom. So I may have to do that. I may have to make another one and, you know, do that for my, for a matching pair of earrings. I wasn't intending to do that, but that's what happens when you get to work. So let me get another piece of my 20 gauge wire. I'm taking a pretty long piece because I need to make a lot of jump rings. I need jump rings for an extender chain, and I also want 2 jump rings per connection. And it looks like I've gotten pretty long here. Let me check my length here. Actually, I'm just about right. I wanted it to be around 6 inches long. I need about a 7-inch bracelet. 7 and a quarter works. So that gives me a little space to do an extender chain. And I had decided on this bracelet too that I was going to do an artisan hook in order to clasp the bracelet. So let me get my bail making pliers that I love so much. These are always linked in my description box, and of course you can use any plier you want when you're making jump rings, but I really like the long barrel, and these are the 2 sizes that I use the most. And I also love the way this fits in my hand. I have problems in my hand, so like a tool like this and my one-step looper really helps me to keep making jewelry. And I'm going to do the am I going to do the smaller or the larger? I think I'm going to do the larger one. And I just love this because I can coil in any direction. I don't have to worry about which direction I'm wrapping. If you use a shorter plier, then you know you have to make sure that you're coiling so that your coil goes off the end. But on this one you have plenty of space to coil away. So I'm just going to do this, pushing it against my finger the whole way. Okay, and now I'm going to take my flush cutters, and with the flush side, snip this part that's not quite round. And I'm just going to snip 1 jump ring at a time. And now the fun part, just connecting everything. So when I'm going to do double jump rings, I usually connect everything and then go back and add the second jump ring. So I'm going to come right here where my crimp bead is, kind of disguise it, and add in my links in the order that I've laid them out here, and just work my way down the piece. That's a smaller jump ring that I made for my clasp. So let me get this connected and I'll show you how I plan to do my closure on this piece. Okay, so from this end, I'm going to create my extender chain with jump rings. So I'm going to put 2 jump rings right beside each other on my component. And I don't need a long extender chain on this piece because it's pretty much the right length, but I really like this style of bracelet. So now I'm going to grab both of those in another jump ring and put 2 here. And I'm going to have to pause and make more jump rings, but my wire is anti-tarnish, and I love that. My jump rings won't tarnish. They don't need a protective coating, and I can sit here and make as many as I want in whatever size I need. Okay, so my little extender chain looks like this, and I'm going to take the bottom two, it's not quite open enough, and corral those into a smaller jump ring and add my butterfly charm right on the bottom. And then I want to make a hook for this end, and then I'll see if I want to add in another butterfly charm or two into my piece. So in order to make my hook, I have a little piece of 20 gauge wire here, and I'm just going to get it like nice and warm, and it'll perform better if you don't skip this step and get it smooth. And I'm going to take my round nose pliers, and I'm going to do a spiral, but I want to have a spiral with kind of a big center because I need to be able to fit a jump ring through it. So I'm going to start down here on my pliers and get kind of a open loop in there, like that. And now I'm just going to spiral this around, not too tight. Actually, I think I'm going to hammer this, so you know, if you've never hammered wire, you change the molecules in the wire when you hammer it, so you make it harder, and also you'll spread out the whatever design you've coiled, so then you have to go back and make a few adjustments. But I want to get just until I like the way it looks, I think right about there. And now I'm going to take that same bail making plier, and I'm going to come here like that, right where I stopped coiling, and I'm going to make a swooping hook around. That looks awesome. And I'm going to come right about here and snip. And now I want to do another little spiral right here. This one I want to be really small and really tight. I need to cut this blunt end. So I want to start this one off really tight, not open like the other one. Okay, that's my little closure, and now I'm going to bring in my little bench block, and I am going to pound this so that this round wire is going to be flat, and I'm going to use my chasing hammer for that. I also have a riveting hammer, and I have a couple of different hammers, but I just want to flatten. And so after I have it flat, I'm going to go back with the small side of my hammer and put some artisan dents in it. I absolutely love this look. And you can see that I'm destroying the shape that I just so carefully put in there, but you can fix it. That looks good. I'm going to come back, put this back on my plier here and just reshape it. A little hand sculpting, you know, whatever you need to do to get it looking the way you want. That is such a pretty little hook. Okay, let me move this out of the way, and it's back to connecting jump rings. So on this side, I think I'm going to try the smaller jump rings. Okay, look at that. It's so pretty. And I'm going to lay my extender chain over my arm, and I could actually clasp this through my last ring if I want to. I have it on upside down. So this little hook can go into my extender chain anywhere that I want it. And look how the body holds up the little section of clusters. It's so dimensional and so pretty, and I love the movement. And I love that it really, all the components are different except for my rings. This is just a gorgeous bracelet. It's a little bit competitive with my watermelon bracelet, but I love the butterfly on the end, and I do think that I want to add, do I want to add more butterflies or save those for earrings? Let me look. Let me decide. I do think it needs one more butterfly. So I'm going to take another piece of my 20 gauge wire and make another little spiral like I did for this one. So same thing we've been doing, but I'm basically going to be turning this spiral into a head pin. So once I have my spiral for a head pin, you just want to get a hold of your spiral and get the wire in your pliers right where you stopped spiraling and just bend it upward. This is a really small spiral, so it's hard to hold on to. You can do it with your pliers too. Hold the spiral with your pliers and there, bend it up. And I just want to make it nice and straight. And I'm going to add my butterfly on here. That little spiral looks so cute under him. It looks like his tail. And then I'm going to put, what am I going to put on this one? It needs a seed bead. These ceramic butterflies have really nice large holes, but it needs a little topper. So just like that. And now I'm going to just do a simple loop here. Just put a little bend in my wire. I start my simple loops the same way that I do my wrapped loops. You bring the wire over the top barrel of the plier and rotate and bring it around and get everything centered. Be a little seed bead is in the way. And I just get everything centered the way that I want it. And from there, instead of wrapping, I'll come right here and snip where my wire meets. And I'm going to go ahead and close this simple loop because I'm going to add my butterfly to the middle of my bracelet with a jump ring. And I have a little connecting trick for that. Many of you have seen my trick because wherever possible I connect my charms to my pieces in this way. I'm going to take one of these, and instead of hooking it through the loop or through a jump ring, I'm going to fit it on here over this whole circumference. So can you see that my jump ring is over the whole circumference? And then I'll put my butterfly on and then close this, and I'll show you what that does if you haven't seen this before. It's a great trick for connecting. And these butterflies, you know, they're two-sided. They look great on both sides, but now that way, no matter which way I pick up, let me get a hold of it. No matter which way I pick up my bracelet, my charm is never stuck. So whether I pick it up this way or this way, and it looks great on both sides. It's just a really great little connecting trick. I love that so much. That was such a pretty addition. Straighten out my spiral just a tiny bit. So gorgeous. I love the SoftFlex company. In my opinion, they just make the best supplies, the bead stringing wire and the crimp tubes, and they have great little finds on their website, but their kit is not to be overlooked. It's very reasonably priced, and you get so much. Like I said, you get a Jesse James bead mix in the kit, and you always get a spool of their 49 strand, or one of their bead stringing wires, not always 49 strand, but the products are just so great and they do such a good job. As you can see, it makes creating just effortless. So I thank you all so much for watching. Open my description box, tap more under this video, and then more a second time to see the whole thing. And there you'll find links to the SoftFlex company's website and anything from my own stash that I use that I've added into the project. You'll find the links there if I know where I got it and I can link it. Hope everybody's safe and well and having fun on your beading mats. Ciao, friends.